Ciao friends and welcome to Simple Italian Cooking. My name is Liz and I've got a good one for you today. Today we are doing stuffed artichokes, but with a twist. This is so easy, so much easier than having to do it from scratch. Today we're using jarred artichokes. You can use them from a can as well. And this is how they turn out. So if you want to learn how to make this amazing appetizer, first course, just a midday snack, follow along. Let's get started. Andiamo. All right, for the seasonings, we're going to use 1/8 of a teaspoon of both cracked black pepper and some kosher salt. I'm using blue salt. You want 1 tablespoon of dried parsley. I'm using dried Italian parsley, but any parsley will be fine. And 1/4 of a teaspoon of oregano. 1 cup of plain breadcrumbs. These are fine. You can also use panko. 1/3 cup of grated or shredded Parmesan cheese, some extra virgin olive oil, and a 14-ounce can of whole artichoke heart. So the first step you're going to do is to drain the artichoke hearts, and then using a knife you want to slice them in half if they're not already halved. So this particular jar is a 14-ounce jar, and it was in water. So I'm just lightly squeezing out the excess water before I cut them. Otherwise, I'm going to be cutting these artichokes in a whole pool of water. So just gently cut them in half. It's okay if some of the leaves come off. And you want to make sure to actually remove any outer leaves that are really tough. Those are not going to soften and they're going to be really hard to chew. So we want to remove all of those. Now that my 14-ounce can came with approximately 6 whole ones, I believe. So depending on how many you want to serve, adjust the quantities accordingly. It's super flexible, this recipe. And if you're using seasoned breadcrumbs already, you don't need to add in those extra seasonings, except the cheese. You definitely want to add in the cheese. Okay, so those are my 12 halves, and next what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very gently, I'm going to kind of pat them dry with a paper towel. Getting these to not be waterlogged is really important, so there's another step too, but I like to go ahead and just kind of press it. Don't worry if it gets a little flat, totally fine, but I just want to get that excess moisture out. So take the extra step to do this and the next step that's coming up. All right, next we are going to be taking a spoon, or I'm just using the tip of my knife, and you want to just kind of carve out an opening, a space, a little hole in the center of each of these artichokes. Don't toss the centers out, they're really important. But I just kind of like to spread them apart because that's where the filling is going to go. So you can see I'm just using my knife and just kind of spreading it apart there. Very, very easy to do. Like I said, I'm just using my knife, or you can use a little spoon or your fingers if you want. Okay, now grab a baking pan like this and line it with some parchment paper. The parchment paper makes it super easy for cleanup because these will get a little messy. And it also makes it really easy to remove them when you're getting ready to serve them. So just position them evenly on the baking pan. And we are going to bake these at 375, and we're going to bake them for just about 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes. All we're trying to do is just dry them out a little bit. This is not the final baking, so we're going to go ahead and put them in the oven just for a little bit of time. In fact, we're just going to let it bake while we make the breadcrumb mixture. So we're going to go ahead and add in your breadcrumbs, add in your cheese, add in your dried parsley, add in a little bit of the oregano, well, all of the oregano, which is about, what, 1/4 teaspoon. You can even go a little bit more than that. Add in your cracked black pepper, and again, I'm using blue salt, which is lower in sodium, but it's still very salty. It's actually from France. And if you're interested in these, I will actually put all the links below in the description. And just give that a really good mix so that it is evenly combined. Okay, so you can see here they're dried up a little bit, which is great. That's exactly what I want. Okay, so next what we're going to do, and I'm doing this really gently. If you have a brush, use a brush. It's probably easy. But I want to put olive oil in each of these artichoke hearts, and I want to try and, if I can, move them around, get some of that olive oil into those crevices, not just in the center, because we want the flavor all over the place. So do the best that you can. It was a little hard for me using the spoon. I didn't have a brush, but just go ahead and do that. And I am using extra virgin olive oil. You want to use a good quality. It just has better flavor. If you have bland olive oil, bland ingredients, you're going to get a bland recipe. All right, now we're going to go ahead and fill each of these artichoke hearts. And I just start off kind of loosely filling in the center, but you do want to get liberal with these. But this is just a little process that I like to do. And that is, after I fill them initially, that's definitely not enough of how much breadcrumbs that I want to use. But what I like to do after I kind of fill in the centers is I like to press it down with the back of my spoon. And I like to really try and get those breadcrumbs in those crevices, and then I top it again with more breadcrumbs. What you're ultimately going to end up with after these are baked is the centers are going to be moist and the outside is going to be more crunchy. Again, that's why it's really important to make sure that there are no really tough outer leaves. Feel free to get rid of those, because you don't want anybody choking on those or having a hard time eating them. It's just kind of awkward. But these make a great side dish or just an appetizer. You can also use panko breadcrumbs. You don't have to use fine breadcrumbs. Panko will give it probably even a little bit more crunch, but this is what I had. So here they are, all nice and filled in. Looks good. And now I go ahead and just do a final drizzle of olive oil. And this is really going to help those breadcrumbs, not only just with flavor, but also with just getting them nice and crispy as they bake. Again, that olive oil is going to run all over the place. So just, do it gently, a little bit at a time if you need to. If you have a spray bottle for your olive oil, try using that. But I do tend to go a little generously, at least I try to. So in the oven they go at 375. Remember, oven temperatures vary. This took mine, I don't know, somewhere between 25 and 35 minutes. It might take yours a little bit longer, but you want to wait until they are nice and golden brown. Oh, and here you go. This is perfect. I would recommend serving these because the breadcrumbs will be crumbly. You can use them as finger foods or with a fork and knife, however is best for you and your guests. I like to put them in a serving tray just like this. And these are oily, so I would recommend, some silverware. And they smell absolutely amazing. And you can see why the cleanup's going to be so much easier with that parchment paper. And all those extra breadcrumbs that are on the parchment paper, eat it or top it. Just pour it on the on top of the others. Absolutely delicious. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take a taste test. Oh, very good. So it's really, really delicious. I hope you like this recipe. Make sure to subscribe, sign up for our newsletter where I send out easy Italian recipes every week. So thanks so much for watching. Grazie e ciao.